My friends, welcome to episode 63 of Prof and Dev Play Games. I am Larry, the professor, and over there is Anthony, the dev. How you doing, man?
Pretty good.
Pretty
Another
good week?
weekend coming to a close. Yep.
Yeah.
Good week. Busy. Um, Getting a lot of stuff done around the house today. Getting ready for the holidays.
Yeah, us too. We had the in-laws over, had some dinner, doing a lot of cleaning up. I got one more week, finals, just so much stuff this week, and then I'm off for 6 weeks. I got coordinating to do, but no teaching, so it'll be kind of a lot less busy and maybe a lot less tired, which will be nice.
That's true.
Yeah.
More time for games.
And also that, I've definitely got a few games lined up that I want to beat. I'm trying my best to get through Watch Dogs 2 before the end of the year, before our next podcast, actually. Next podcast, which is going to be the 19th, I think. Publishes on the 19th, will be our Game of the Year podcast, where Anthony and I will select our Game of the Year. I think last year we did our top 5, so we'll probably do the same thing this year.
Yeah.
And in order. That was a really fun discussion. I like to put that out the week before Christmas because that Sunday we usually record is Christmas. I'm not sure. We won't be recording that night. We'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
But the 19th will be our GOTY. So today, what we're going to do, we're just going to discuss all the games that we've kind of played this year or beat this year, and kind of it's our primary quote-unquote for next year's Game of the Year talk. So we'll lay everything out today, and then next week we'll let you all know what we decided for our GOTY. And I think we might do something where we assign points to, for example, top game is 5, second game is 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll do the numbers, and then we can have one Prof and Dev Play Games Game of the Year.
Okay.
Maybe do a little graphic and just let people know. Send it to the devs and say, hey, we chose your game. And then we got some news, a little bit of news, and then we'll talk about what we're playing this week. So let's start with all the games that we have played this year. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Why don't you go first? You have a list.
I do. I'm keeping a list over at Prof and Dev, or Professor Plays Games. That's the website, and it's from last year. I posted my 12 in 12, a New Year's resolution, and I said that I would beat the 12 games from my backlog because I was going to spend no more than $300 on new games, and that didn't happen at all. But I actually spent a lot less than I normally do because I was pretty thoughtful about which games I was going to buy. But I stopped keeping track of the budget in July. So here are the games that I beat this year. I'm going to list all the games, even ones that didn't come out this year. Then I'll wrap back to and talk about the ones that I did beat this year, that came out this year. The ones that would be part of the Game of the Year discussion. So this year, yeah. I beat Mass Effect 1 in January, Mass Effect 2 in July, Mass Effect 3 in December. I beat Nathan Drake Collection, so Uncharted 2 in October, Uncharted 3 in November. I beat, through the Master Chief Collection, I beat Halo 2 in February and Halo 3 in March. I beat Diablo 3 in January. And then I beat Assassin's Creed in February, Firewatch in February, Unravel in February, The Order in March, Her Story in March, Quantum Break in April, Witcher 3 Blood and Wine in June, Inside in August, Uncharted 4 in November, Oxenfree in November, Actual Sunlight in December, Fire Emblem Birthright in December, Destiny Rise of Iron I beat in September, Bound I beat in August, and Gone Home I beat in July. I think there might be a couple more that I'm forgetting, but that's what I've beaten this year, and I think it works out to 24 games, which is more than I've ever beat in a calendar year in my life.
Way more than I actually beat.
Yeah. And then of those, the ones that would be for consideration for Game of the Year would be Firewatch, Unravel, Quantum Break, Witcher 3 Blood and Wine, Inside, Uncharted 4, Oxenfree, Fire Emblem Fate Birthright, Destiny Rise of Iron, Bound, and then Overwatch I didn't beat because there's no way to beat it, and that's also up for consideration. And, talking through the things that I enjoyed playing this year, I do keep coming back to Firewatch, oddly enough. As we've talked about a million times, that ending wasn't fantastic, but the gameplay, I thought it kind of was a walking simulator, but the art direction, the voice acting, the story was interesting up until you realized they were going nowhere with the alien thing.
Or whatever the mystery.
Yeah.
The like. But you keep coming back to it?
Yeah, it keeps coming back in my mind. Like I enjoyed my time with it. I'm trying to think, for my game of the year, like it's got to be a game that did what it set out to do, like what the devs wanted to do with it, and that I had fun with. So my mind keeps coming back to Firewatch and Unravel because those are both fun games. I think Unravel. I mean, I really, really, really enjoyed Unravel, and I thought it was beautiful, and I thought the story made me cry at the end. So that might be something that I'll keep thinking about. Quantum Break was another one that the ending was just abysmal. That final boss fight was just terrible, but the game was fun throughout up until that point. Witcher 3 Blood and Wine, we both beat that this year, I think, right?
Yes, you beat that piece of it. I beat all of Witcher this year.
Oh, that's right. This was your Witcher year.
I mean, when I look at the games I played, I'm like, man, have I played that many games? Like, so few. And then I look at the games that I actually like played to the completion and the hours played into them, and I'm like, yes, I actually haven't played that many individual games. I have sunk large amounts of hours into a smaller number of games.
Why don't you tell us your list?
All right. So some of these at the beginning are still a little fuzzy, but I know that there's Firewatch, and then XCOM 2.
Ah, you beat that, or you played that?
I played it. I don't think I've actually beat it. It gets pretty hard. I'm playing it pretty hard, but it's one that I kind of forget about, shockingly. But I'm like, I really need to go back and play more of it. I really enjoyed it. Darkest Dungeon was this year, came out at least, and I
came out early access, right?
Yeah, and actually was like a full release game this year. And I did play a lot more of it once it got its final release update. And then I think after that I went in to Witcher. Because when did Blood and Wine come out?
I think it came out in June. Or I played it in June, maybe.
And that was March. So yeah, April. I think I started into The Witcher in April or May. I could look back at our show notes to be sure. But, I mean, it's The Witcher. It took a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think there's probably a month there where I was just playing Witcher.
Yeah.
So played through a bunch of Witcher. I guess that would be on my list for Blood and Wine being there.
Yeah.
Because of that. I played a lot of Diablo 3 again. I platinumed it this year.
Damn, I
got the Diablo. I got that platinum again. Not a game that came out this year, but I put probably a pretty insane amount of hours into Diablo 3 this year.
Right.
Even for not, beating it. There's no beating it anymore.
Right.
Stardew Valley actually came out the spring.
And that's not really a game you beat either, right?
No, there's no beating that game. I guess, you just set out to do what you're going to do.
Yeah.
No beating it. Played a bunch of it, so there's a ton of hours into that. Played some Diablo 2 again. I remember playing the Star Wars, The Old Republic more recently. Oxenfree, of course.
Right.
Back to Skyrim with the special edition. And put, I'm looking now, 45 hours into that. And I'm nowhere close to beating that game. And I don't think I'll ever beat that game. I've just come to the conclusion that I don't need to beat it.
Yeah.
That's not what's fun about it. Right. Hyperlight Drifter, which I'm still on the last boss. I have to get better to beat that boss. What else have I know there's even more stuff that I've done. Pokemon Moon, which
Pokemon
I'm still
Go
playing a bit
too.
on. Pokemon Go. My introduction to the world of Pokemon.
Yeah, something I was thinking about earlier about how long I played certain games, like Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan. I got to the last level, and I just didn't beat the last level. I got frustrated with the gameplay. And then Titanfall 2, I got like 3/4 of the way through the campaign and just wasn't that interested. It was a rental anyway, so I returned it. Yeah, I think I've gotten through there are games that I want to consider for game of the year and kind of want to get through, and I get through enough to realize that I don't like it that much. So
Yeah.
I don't need to finish games. I have so much to play. I don't need to finish games I don't like just to say I did.
Exactly. Was No Man's Sky.
Right.
I've put a decent chunk of hours into that, in all its flaws. Uncharted 4, which I couldn't not beat that game.
Right. Did you play Destiny: Rise of Iron? Did you jump back?
No.
Into that? Oh,
nope,
you didn't.
Didn't jump back into Destiny at all.
Okay.
I've considered it every once in a while because I know a bunch of people playing, but I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not. I know that I'd play it just for a little bit and then be done again.
That's what I do. It's really weird. I jump in for the expansion, I play it, and I'm done. Like, I beat the story, I'm like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, its grinding just hasn't hooked me.
No, not at all. And it has like a grammar to the game that I don't really understand and don't like that much once you get outside the story or the campaign.
Yeah, I can see that. It's the grammar of their lore, and then how the community has just kind of formed their own shorthand for a bunch of stuff.
Exactly, like the Destiny subreddit's just like impenetrable to me.
Yeah,
but
I figure that's what WoW was like to outsiders.
Yeah,
like I could copy and paste a sentence that I've written in WoW and be like, someone who has not played WoW or familiar with WoW would have no clue that that's actually a legible, readable sentence.
Right.
So yeah, that's just online communities. They just create their own syntax and for quick understanding, I guess.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
I think that was most of what I've played. I mean, it's all that. I played some Rocket League, but really it's just been a huge amount of hours. Like, if I look back on the year, the games I've I don't have an hour total for Stardew Valley.
Right.
But it was pretty big.
Yeah.
I'm sure that one's 50 plus hours. And then...
Which is more than we put into, these campaign games that we both beat.
Yeah, Witcher 3, if you take a total, I think I beat it at 120 hours.
And that's insane value. Like, okay.
That was with Blood and Wine. That was just like...
Oh, yeah.
That was the whole thing. It was like 100 and...
Right.
Yeah, 110, 120 hours total play time, and there's still tons I could go back and do in that game.
I keep kind of waiting for myself to go back, because I really mainlined the main story, and I didn't do a ton of side stuff. And that side stuff is just like the air of that game. There's so much to go back and do. And then I can choose Yen instead of Triss. I don't know if there's ever going to be another game like Witcher in my lifetime that captivates me so much. Whew, that was an experience.
When they get around to making the next Witcher.
Oh, that's true. Oh my God.
I assume it will happen at some point. Give them some time.
Yeah, it's funny because they were saying
give them a decade.
They're like, this is the last one, but this one was the best received one yet, so I assume.
Yeah. Let them get Cyberpunk out of their system. Give them palate cleanser.
That's right.
Then they can come back with fresh eyes onto the Witcher franchise and see.
Right. So I think if I were to choose maybe my top 10 games that I will whittle down to 5 for next year, I really had a great time with Fire Emblem Birthright, Uncharted 4.
Yeah, Inside, that has to be on there.
Yeah, Inside, Witcher 3 Blood and Wine, Unravel, had a great time with that. That's 5 so far. Overwatch is another one that I've enjoyed this year. I'd probably put Firewatch in there and consider Firewatch.
Yeah, I'd consider it.
And then I'm trying to think what else would go on the not really Bound. I don't know. Yeah, I think maybe I'm down to those 8, to whittle down to the top 5.
Yeah.
And think about what I like the best. If it were top games that I played this year, several of them would be games that came out not this year. Mass Effect 2, Uncharted 2, Diablo 3, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. think my game of the year might not. No, I think my game of the year still will come from this year because there were several great ones this year.
Yeah.
So those are the ones I'm kind of thinking about, the ones that I had a lot of fun with, and it just hooked me. Oh, and I'm hoping to consider Watch Dogs 2. That's the other one. I forgot about that one. So there's 9. I'd throw Watch Dogs 2 up there because I'm about a fourth of the way through, and I think that I could probably get through most, if not all, of the main story before it's time to decide next week.
Yeah, I could see that. I forgot. The thing I'm playing now, Final Fantasy 15.
Oh, right.
That will definitely be on my list.
So we're definitely gonna get into that later. I bought that with Watch Dogs 2 and Ezio, and I figured I'd try them both to kind of see which one grabbed me, and then I was hoping to kind of consider both for the list, but I don't think I'm gonna get to Final Fantasy 15 before it's time to decide.
Probably not.
No, I don't think so. I think I told you the thing that sold me on that I decided to try out Watch Dogs. Besides like a ton of podcasts I'm listening to, people are really just talking about how much fun they're having with the game, like just the sandbox, San Francisco, having a lot of fun, trying to figure out how to get through it. Someone called it the SJW GTA. I was like, perfect, I want it. And it really is. It's not living up to that in terms of like, I think SJW, a lot of people use it online to talk about like gender politics.
Yeah.
This is more about like greed and Silicon Valley and how that's changing our world for the worse and fighting back against like the man. So
yeah. All the trailers have always come off to me as being a bit more, I don't know, old school hacker style.
Yeah.
Like, the first one took itself very seriously.
It sure did.
Doesn't sound like Watch Dogs 2 takes itself very seriously.
It doesn't.
In some ways, I feel like it's the movie Hackers moved forward like 20 years.
Yeah.
And it just has that vibe of just like kind of corny.
Yep.
Kind of a fake way of dealing with hacking. Like, maybe I know too much in computer science and how stuff is done. And I'm just like, yeah, this is total like Hollywoodized hacking kind of like, and they definitely decided like, yeah, let's not be serious about the whole thing.
They don't really go into like how this is all being done. It's just like press a button and hack it. Like, okay, I can hack a car. Like I can make it drive all over the place by hacking. Like that's not really real.
Yeah.
So I think that'll definitely be on. I think I've got 9, and maybe I'd probably throw an Oxenfree there. So those 10, whittle it down. And I think some people would say, well, you want to choose for Game of the Year games that, are new games, games that came out this year, full games. I am so counting Blood and Wine as a full game, so that's definitely in the running. Because I know it's an expansion, but it's bigger than other games on my list.
And its story is separate.
Right, and
it's not really. Place. Yeah, it's totally self-contained.
That's right.
They could have released it probably as a standalone game if they had wanted to.
Right.
It's not like the first expansion. It is tied in with the world.
Right.
That you're rocking around like no.
That's right. So for you, if you were to like think about, would you be able to give us like a list of 10 that you whittled down next month, or next week?
Final Fantasy 15 will be on it. XCOM 2 will be on it. Uncharted 4 would be on it. I realized Chroma Squad. I beat that this year.
Oh, right. Chroma Squad.
Which actually would be on it. I don't know if we get to the top 5, but it was a pretty fun little game. Firewatch would be on it. Oxenfree would be on it. I don't know if Oxenfree would make it or not. Like, it and Firewatch are kind of vying for the same spot.
Exactly.
In my head, I don't know which one would get there.
I'm kind of thinking the same thing. Like I've got Oxenfree, Firewatch, and Unravel, all 3 kind of vying for the same spot. And there's totally different games, but the kind of like short indie game kind of all fill that niche,
So Hyper Light Drifter would totally be on there, even though I haven't beat the last boss.
You're close enough.
Yeah, beating the last boss isn't because I'm frustrated or angry with the game or not liking the game. It's that it's actually hard. Like, it's gonna take me time,
right,
to be good enough, be in the zone where I can actually like do this reaction. Stardew Valley would be on my list. Witcher 3, sure, we can say Blood and Wine, but the whole thing for me goes on the list.
Excellent. I will allow it because you know what? We make the rules.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like currently in my head where the list is at.
Cool.
And some of those will be fighting with each other to actually make it into a top 5.
Right.
Although I'm like, all right, 2 spots I know are full. Like, I know 2 games will be in top 5.
Right.
So then it's figuring out those other 3 out of, like, the other 6 that I just said, 7 that I just said.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I've got 2 locked down for sure. And there's one that I kept thinking was for sure, and now I'm thinking maybe not.
Just keeps moving farther down.
It does, yeah. And it's a game that I super enjoy, and I love the idea of, but I don't know if I played it enough. So it's kind of, we make the rules for what we do here, and it's interesting to kind of like decide like what's fair and what's not.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how much time I definitely did intend to go through my backlog, and I made a good dent. But there are just so many good games this year that I don't know. I could have done better, I guess. But I beat 24 games, and that's freaking rad for me because I probably beat like last year. I don't know, maybe beat like 5. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I did go back and play. There's definitely stuff in my backlog. I didn't beat it, but I just tried stuff from my backlog. It was like, let's take some time. Went back and I played Grim Dawn for a little bit more. I think it actually officially released 1.0, like out of early access, and then I played it some more, but I played it a significant amount in early access.
Right.
I did Vampire Masquerade. Went back and actually played that game, and it's because everyone has always talked a ton about it, and I never actually had played it. So yeah, I look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, I did play older games too. Technically, I kind of feel like Skyrim was out too. Even if it was the remaster, it's still the same game.
Right. There's one thing I forgot that I'm going to have to add to my list too, which would make it 10. Batman Telltale Batman.
Oh, yeah.
I'll finish it on Wednesday. Guaranteed.
Oh, yeah, it comes out, doesn't it?
Actually, I might even finish it Tuesday. It comes out Tuesday the 13th.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's the last episode, and I've really enjoyed episode 4, but was pretty good, so.
All right.
Yeah, that'll probably be on the list too. So we'll see what goes to the top 10. It's fun to talk about though, and then kind of plan for next year what I'm going to play through and stuff. The Switch will be on the list next year.
Switch will be on the list. Horizon will probably be on the list. At least be there. Like, have to think.
Yeah.
It looks really good. Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yep.
Theoretically.
Yep.
Like, there's some big games coming out next year. So I don't know how much my backlog is going to get played.
I agree with you. And it's funny because a lot of the big stuff that we're both looking forward to next year were things that were pushed from this year. Would have changed the landscape of this year, and I'm so thankful they pushed because we have so much to play.
Yeah.
And so much in our backlog. I don't know why. I say we. I don't know if you're in this boat. Maybe you are. But when sales come up and like they're cheap games that are really good games from the past that you want to, collect or pick up, and our backlogs just keep growing.
Yeah, I still buy things at like Steam Christmas sale, holiday sale is going to come up, and I'm sure I'm going to buy some more stuff during that. Why? I don't know, but it's cheap, and I might want to play that game sometime.
That's right. Like today, there was a sale for Mankind Divided, and it was $20 on Amazon. I was like, "That's so cheap. That's cheaper than it was. I should get. Why? I'm not gonna buy it just because it's cheap." I haven't even played a Human Revolution yet, so just calm down.
Yeah. I mean, that's one that's on my list to pick up.
Yeah.
When it's cheap, but I'm waiting for the holiday sale. I usually play those on PC. Was that a PC version?
That was the Xbox PS4.
Yeah, still want to play those on the PC.
Yeah, that makes sense. Did Her Story launch this year? No, that was last year, wasn't it?
No, it was this year. It was very beginning, like really? January. That was like, we played it very early, before Firewatch. Yeah, Her Story.
But I was wondering if it launched this year.
No, it launched.
Oh, 2015. Yeah.
Yeah, it launched years ago.
Yeah.
A year ago.
Yeah, 2015. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff on my wish list that eventually I'll get to play.
On your wish
Man,
list?
but a lot of on my Steam wish list, I'm looking at things that are I've wish listed for when sales come up, and I'm like, yeah, I don't need a lot of it.
Right.
I want it though, so why not?
I've got 2 small games that are on my wish list that I'm hoping to pick up if they go on sale. One is Slayaway Camp, but the other one is Orwell. Have you heard about Orwell?
I haven't.
Oh man, it looks really good. It's like episodic, and you're basically you are Big Brother. You're watching people, and you're making determinations on who gets picked up by the FBI or the CIA or whatever. Like you're changing people's lives based on like the data you're trying to sift through. It's $10, and I think it'll be on the winter sale. It came out in October, and like the reviews are ridiculous. People love it, and it looks. It's different. You're sifting through a lot of text data and people's social network postings and stuff that the government knows basically. You're spying on people basically and making decisions based upon what you find.
Wow.
It's really
sounds
cool
fascinating.
Yeah, and considering where we're going in this country right now, it's something worth exploring, I think.
Yeah. It's like Papers, Please. Everyone should play that at least for a bit.
Yeah.
Because man, is that game harsh.
Well, and there's a demo for Orwell too. It's the first episode, so.
All right, I'll have to try that one. That's on just put it on my wish list.
Yeah.
I'll keep trying.
That might be a good video game book club eventually, because I think it's.
I think so.
Cool. So that's what we're considering for Game of the Year. Next week we will hit the Game of the Year discussion, and then I think the last episode of the month or the year too. We will go back and look at our 5 predictions we had for 2016. If you remember that episode.
I do remember it.
So we'll go back and see how. I don't remember any of my predictions, so we'll see how wrong we were. I think my one prediction was the Switch would come out this year, and that was terrible. But let's get into the news. First piece of news, something that you brought up about Final Fantasy. Why don't you take that one?
Yeah, this came from a website called VG Leaks. I saw it on NeoGAF and then read it, and it's it hasn't been discredited. But basically, 2017 marks the 30th anniversary for Final Fantasy. So sounds like Square has a roadmap for the entire year and big plans for a lot of different releases. First up, one of the big ones is that the Final Fantasy VII Remake, the first episode of it, would be out by the end of 2017. That one is the highest, the one that gets me the most. Like, I don't know if that's true or not, just because they haven't shown a lot. But
that's right.
They've also been clear that the remake is going to be episodic. At least they're going to cut the game into different chunks. So I have a feeling the first episode would be the Midgard chunk of the beginning game.
Right.
Before you get to the big world map and everything. And so theoretically, that piece could be done by the end of the year. I mean, they've shown some videos that show off that chunk of the game. So I don't know. That's the one I'm like, maybe not.
Yeah.
Or that's the one that might get delayed. They might want it out in 2017, but it might be delayed in 2018.
Well, it's the piece on this list that you're about to go through that is the most, like you said, it's most unproven right now. The rest...
Yeah, we know that the next is Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age, the remaster, is coming out next year, and that's going to happen, I'm sure of it. There's new rumors on here that the Final Fantasy 13 trilogy is going to get all bundled together on a single disc for the PS4, but not remastered. It will just run at 1080p, 60 frames per second.
How do you feel about that? Did you like 13?
No.
Okay.
I did not like 13 at all. I got about 15 hours into 13 and was like, no. And then everyone that has played, they're like, oh, it gets really good at about 40 hours.
Oh,
I'm like, I'm not spending 40 hours to get to the point where everyone's like, oh, it's a good game. I'm like, no. No.
That's
I didn't like the characters either. I didn't feel a lot of connection to them. The world was really confusing to me. They don't drop you in easily in that game. It's just very much like, figure it out. All this shit is happening.
Yeah.
Read the little like in-game lore dictionaries and to figure out what everything, all these words that they're saying are. It was painful.
Oh my
to
god.
Me.
That sounds.
Yeah, I did not like 13. So though that seems doable. So the next one, and this, I've seen some more news about this, and this seems pretty legitimate, is there's going to be a single PS4 and Vita SKU that's going to collect Final Fantasies 1 through 9.
That is rad. Like in one place. Whew.
Yeah.
I know that.
Oh, it's so good.
Are they going to be like the ports of the mobile ports?
No, I have a feeling they're not, but they could. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 through 6 have come out on the PS1 before in some form. There were there was different bundles. There's a lot of different SKUs, and it's between US and America how it was split up. But basically, there was 2 or 3 collections that were put out that were those games. At least 3 of them or 2 of them together. And when they came out in the US, it was like the first time Final Fantasy V had been localized to English.
Okay.
Like, it was a big deal on the PS1. So I have a feeling it's just going to be those PS1 versions emulated on the PS4, like they do the current the PS2 classics kind of thing.
Well, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII on PS4 right now.
That's a PC one.
Okay.
So that they like ported the PC version back too.
Because it's got trophy support and it's got the cheats basically.
Yeah, and then 8 had a PC version that they haven't brought to the PS4, but would be trivial probably for them to bring over since they've already done all the work for 7.
Yeah.
And 7, 8, and 9 use a very similar engine. So
you think these ones will have those same kind of features like trophies and then like the speed up kind of things, the cheats?
I would think so.
Okay, because that
I don't know if trophies where they might like. I could see them having trophies for 7 because they've already done that work.
Yeah.
But maybe not the earlier ones. Who knows?
I just feel like if they know the PS4 audience, they want trophies. So
yeah,
something there. I just it's made Final Fantasy VII really accessible to me. I kind of got stuck trying to fucking catch a chocobo, but it makes it faster, so I can get through quicker. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think they'll be doing some of that. So
yeah,
first 9 games, 1 disc, which is awesome. You want to talk about gaming value? That would be gaming value.
Oh God, absolutely.
And then there's this thing, Season Pass, which sounds like a PC thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I was confused about this.
I don't know why it's called Season Pass. I don't know. I'm ignoring that line because I can't get any information on what that means. But basically, the rumor is that Final Fantasies 1 to 12, Final Fantasy Tactics, and Chrono Trigger will be on Steam by the end of the year.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised. Square's been bringing all these games to PC for a long time, so
I think people would really like Tactics on the PS4.
Tactics on the PS4 would be amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually.
Yeah.
And then early mid 2018 is rumors for the Final Fantasy VII remake and 15 on PC. Which Final Fantasy VII remake is using Unreal 4, so it can be on whatever platform.
Right.
And I know that 15 is running on their own custom engine, but that custom engine is designed to run on PCs. So
I wonder if it'll be running on Switch too.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Switch. I don't know. Square's always been tepid about their latest Final Fantasies on Nintendo hardware now. They do custom stuff for Nintendo.
Yeah.
Like, they do their own. Crystal Chronicles was the GameCube one.
Right.
So I don't know. But there's even more confirmation that there's a whole Japanese website for the 30th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying that sometime in, I think February, that it points to a date in February. I couldn't read all the Japanese, but basically mid-February they're going to have some announcement of things. So
good. Looks like we're going to have a lot of good news in the first couple months of 2017.
But leading from that into some Sony news.
Sony is knocking it out of the park here. So the news here is that Sony has sold 50 million PlayStation 4s, and it reached the milestone 17 months faster than the PlayStation 3, that's the crazy part to me.
Which isn't shocking.
No, it's been fine off the shelf. And
PlayStation 3 did not sell well for a long time.
Right, because of the pricing.
There's a whole lot of... It didn't really start picking up sales until they made the slim version.
Mm-hmm.
I just love that. I'm like, I would like to see how it compares to like the PlayStation 2.
Mm-hmm.
That one sold a lot.
Well, it's interesting. You basically have 3 PS4s out in the wild, and they all count toward this total. So how many people are double dipping, or trading in their old PS4 for the Pro, or getting the Slim with the updated Wi-Fi card?
It's hard to say. Where Xbox has been winning the last few months, you have to know probably people were holding off till the Pro.
They were holding off, absolutely.
Like if you hadn't bought one, you're going to be buying your first PS4,
right,
and the Pro is going to be launching in like 8 weeks. You just wait for the Pro,
right?
Which I think has probably skewed the numbers in the past few months.
That's right.
Because now the Pro's on the market, and so I expect that sales will be high for a while.
Yeah, and the Xbox had the new console out with the S, so both those things together, absolutely. And it's I think eventually you'll have parity, because I do think there are a lot of people who purchase both, and not at the beginning, but eventually, like when it's cheap. Like if I had an Xbox the whole time and was staring at PS4 Slim bundles with Uncharted 4 for $200, I would have jumped.
Yeah.
So.
And it worked the same way. Like for me in the last generation,
right?
I had the 360 for a while before I ever got a PS3.
Yeah.
I just waited for the Slim. It just happened to be the right time where I got the PS3, but the 360 was what I wanted because of Mass Effect and Assassin's Creed, the first Assassin's Creed. There were just games I wanted on that one.
Which is what happened this console generation as well.
Yeah.
It's been games the whole time. Like it's still funny to me when I load up my PS4, I load up my Xbox. The first thing I see in my PS4 is all my games. That the whole bar there. When you load up the Xbox, you just see a bunch of ads for stuff, and the last thing the last game you played is the big tile there, but you have to click over and then press A to enter your games library. Has a list of the previous 3 or 4 things or 5 things that you played recently, but it's not always games if you run an app or something else.
Yeah.
So
I hadn't realized how many ads were there. That's kind of ridiculous.
There's a lot to see, and it's not fronting games, which is interesting. I mean, obviously that's what their strategy was originally, to be more than just games. But PS4, just to me, games, and then 50 million, like this is where all the games are going to come to. So.
Oh yeah. It's going to be pretty hard for any third-party developer to say, no, we're not going to put our game here.
Right, exactly.
Microsoft would have to pay some good money to get exclusives at this point.
Well, I think this month, they had Dead Rising 4, I think, was an exclusive for them. I think it's a timed exclusive, but...
I think all the Dead Risings have been Microsoft, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at Marvel vs. Capcom. That's PS4. The Ultimate 3 redo.
Yeah.
Watch Dogs even has like extra stuff for PlayStation, and it's just the place to play, man. And that controller is the best. It's just freaking rad.
I agree.
So, anyway, Sony has 50 million. Congratulations to them.
Yeah.
Next.
See, this is going to be a crazy cycle because this year is Scorpio.
Right.
So we'll see
what
that will do at the end of the year.
I think it's going to... I mean, I know it's going to crush the Pro in terms of what it can do, but I don't know if that's going to matter.
Yeah. We'll see at that point.
Right. Next one I'll have you take because it talks about dev teams that you can speak more about.
This was just weird because I was reading and it was like, wow, So Destiny development. This is on Polygon. Destiny development team expands with Vicarious Visions. And I was like, who's? I'd heard of Vicarious Visions before, and I was just curious about what this meant. And it is through Activision and help. Basically, Vicarious Visions is now working on Destiny as well, and they are New York based. They've done. They do a lot of. I was looking at their history. They've done a lot of porting work.
Yeah,
like a lot of work. They're very work for hire. Like,
yeah,
what game needs to be where, and it makes sense that they would be a company that Activision's like, oh, you need more people and you need more man hours. Here you go.
Well, and they have a relationship with Activision because they've done. I think they're doing the Crash one too, the new Crash Bandicoot thing.
Yep.
And they, of course, did Skylanders is the one that I know them for, at least.
Yeah, and I hadn't realized that High Moon Studios was also working for Bungie on Destiny.
What did High Moon Studios do?
I have to look it up again. I thought they had closed, actually.
Huh. That sounds familiar to me, but I can't think of what they did.
They're in Carlsbad. They did some Transformer games.
You say they're in Carlsbad?
Carlsbad.
Holy shit, They are in Carlsbad.
Yeah, they did the Transformers War for Cybertron.
Okay.
Transformers Dark of the Moon. They did Fall of Cybertron. They did a War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron are really, really good Transformer games. And then it looks like they did porting work on different things. And yeah, they did Deadpool, and then that failed miserably.
Oh, that one keeps selling for like $30.
Yeah. But then it looks like Activision was like, here, work on Destiny as well. Yeah. Which brings the point that Destiny probably has a team working on it of over 1,000 people now. Easily.
Yeah.
Whatever is being done, and what I'm like, these people could be working on content for current Destiny so that Bungie proper can be working on Destiny 2.
Right.
That's my thought.
Well, that makes sense.
I don't feel like Bungie would outsource Destiny 2 stuff.
Right,
so
like the core
they would keep
stuff.
Yeah, they would keep that in-house, and then these guys would be working to just maintain Destiny right now.
That's right.
So it's crazy to think how many people are working on Destiny.
Yeah, and it's just how much we don't care about it. Like,
I really wish I did. I know so many people. I know probably not so many. I know half a dozen people personally that work there and are working on it. And they always ask me, like, "You want to play it?" And I'm like, "No, not really. I've tried.
I don't really.
Sorry."
Yeah.
No, I'm like, I love it from. It looks amazing.
Yeah, and
it actually plays amazing.
It plays
like,
so well.
But the actual like loop that you're supposed to go through in it really wears out on me really quickly.
It's just not interesting.
Yeah.
At all. Like I just it's interesting because like the loop for like Diablo 2, the loot grind is interesting, and Destiny is not at all.
Well, they don't have nearly as many weapons or anything. Like you're not grinding for like the weapon, you're grinding for resources basically.
Yeah.
To upgrade your weapons.
Right, exactly.
Which I could get into a whole design talk on. There have been a number of action RPGs that have tried that model of just like, okay, you've got your weapon, just upgrade it. Like, put resources into it and you just keep it. And it actually doesn't, to me, it doesn't make the action RPG, the loot grind, better. Because once I fill that slot, I'm not looking for anything new. When I see a weapon, I'm like, whatever, I don't need a new weapon.
Right.
I've got, and once you start taking away those decisions, those like what you can be excited for, it kind of just becomes boring.
Well, I think that's exactly right, because I have a scout rifle that's my main weapon in Destiny, and I keep getting new stuff that I just infuse into it, because then I can raise its level with the new stuff.
Yeah. And
so you're not getting new things and looking at new things, and weapons.
Yeah, you don't care about any of the new stuff you're getting.
No, I just destroy it as soon as I get it, because I like the gun I have now, and it's like, that's good. I'm glad I like what I have, but I don't care about advancing.
But yeah, it gets rid of that carrot on a stick kind of thing.
Yeah, and also for me and maybe you as well, raising light level to go, eventually the end game is to run those raids, and
Yeah.
I don't have 6 people that I can raid with. Every time I try it fails, so I've
Yeah.
never actually even
I
done
don't
a
think
raid.
I'm gonna do raids. Like, it's one of those things where, like, I don't know if I'll ever truly go back to an MMO again.
Yeah,
Um,
just because it's a
so
time
it's like the
suck.
raid stuff just doesn't pique my interest that much. It's like, oh yeah, it could be fun, but I remember, yes, needing the 6 people to play with and just how much work that required,
Right.
like dedication.
Yep.
And I don't think I'm in a place in my life anymore where I want to give that amount of effort and dedication to that task anymore.
Right.
Like, I always play games. It's just sometimes it requires it's more than a game at that point. It becomes a lifestyle for those for raiding and MMOs and things like that. It's not something you just drop into.
Yeah, and I feel like we are gravitating toward the experiences that allow us to access them when we want to access them,
Yes.
and then put them down when we're done. And
Yeah.
I agree. I 100% agree. Um, so next piece of news, I think we're moving into the Nintendo portion of the program.
I feel like this is going to be a portion of news probably for at least the next couple months, if not more.
Which is exciting because my heart is
always with the Nintendo.
With Nintendo. I mean, I freaking love my PlayStation. I play it more than anything, but yeah, Nintendo always has a special place in my heart. So one thing that I'm cautiously excited about is this news item from Polygon that Nintendo Switch will finally bring GameCube games to the Virtual Console, and they're talking about Animal Crossing, Super Mario Sunshine, and which I'm going to put a pin in and come back to, and then Smash Brothers Melee, which is crazy.
Yeah.
If they put Melee on this thing and upres it, like make it HD, seriously, people are going to buy the crap out of the Switch.
Yeah, just to play that.
Just to play that, because people are just still obsessed with that game. So the thing that I'm putting a pin on, coming back to, is Super Mario Sunshine. First of all, that's rad because I never played it, and people talk really, really, really love it. It had analog triggers. So
yeah,
for the GameCube, you know what I'm talking about, for the
Yep.
GameCube, which tells me that they're going to have special edition or special whatever Joy-Cons. So
Oh yeah.
if the Joy-Cons that come with it aren't analog, pressure sensitive, whatever, they will have a GameCube Joy-Con specifically for the Virtual Console and the games that require that kind of the analog triggers.
Oh yeah. I expect that there'll be something that basically looks like a GameCube controller.
Yep, absolutely.
Like, really, almost a launch probably.
Yep. Well, it's so smart of them to, like, I think I was listening to a podcast earlier where someone was saying, I love all the 3DS XLs that come out, all the special editions. I'm not going to buy 10 3DS XLs. I only need one. But Joy-Cons, like, I'll buy 10 sets of Joy-Cons for different, like a Zelda Joy-Con and a Donkey Kong Joy-Con, third-party Joy-Cons for games that I like. Like,
That's true.
There's potential there for selling.
How much do you think Breath of the Wild will have a limited edition Joy-Con bundle?
I would stop doing this podcast if they didn't do that. That's how confident I am.
I mean, I looked at my Wii stuff. Like, one of my Wiimotes is the gold Zelda Wiimote.
Right.
Wiimote Plus. I was like, oh yeah, it bundled that together. They're gonna have Joy-Cons that are bundled together.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And those things are gonna sell like crazy.
Yep.
So I like that it's kind of like the nameplate in Japan. I don't think it can in the US, I'm not sure. But for the 3DS XL, the small one, you could change the faceplates, customize your experience. Like, it's happening. And I'm excited about this news about the GameCube Virtual Console coming to Switch. I wish it would have come to Wii U, because GameCube is honestly, if I'm thinking about all the handhelds, all the home consoles, GameCube is the only one that I didn't play.
No, I don't think you...
I missed the GameCube completely.
Yeah, you were... I remember I had it. I was like the only person that I knew that had one in college.
Really?
Yeah, everyone just came and played mine in my suite. But
the library was really good.
It had fantastic games.
Right.
I still have mine, actually. It's sitting in the garage.
Mm.
I love that little thing.
I honestly thought about buying one earlier this year, and and playing some of the games, like Luigi's Mansion. I heard is really
Yep.
good. Sunshine, Melee. Never played Melee. I don't care about Animal Crossing at all, but
I never played Animal Crossing. My first Animal Crossing was New Leaf on the 3DS. What is that? Metroid Prime.
oh yeah, I've got that on the Wii U though. That came forward.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, do a new version of it.
Right. Because it was on the Wii, I think, as well.
Yeah, because they did the bundle with the Wii. That's where I played those. I mean, that was originally where Wind Waker was. Yeah, I mean, it had a lot of games. It had a lot of really good games. It also did hooked up with Game Boy Advances. There were games
right.
that was where there was the Final Fantasy and then Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Mm-hmm. Was you play it with 4 other people, and when you're in town shopping, if you have it, you've plugged in your GBA to the GameCube. All your like inventory and shopping would all be done through your 3DS, or not your GBA, so other players could be doing all their own stuff.
That's awesome.
It was a great little thing.
I think there's just so much potential, and with this GameCube VC, and I'm hoping that when they bring the other virtual console to Switch, that I don't have to buy games that I bought for my Wii U again. That they can just, push forward my licenses. But
yeah, I feel like Nintendo has updated that recently. Like once Miitomo came out and you upgraded your account to be a Nintendo account,
right?
It felt like that was the Switch where they're keeping track of what games you're actually owning.
I hope so, and I think that I don't know what they're going to do with the inevitable. There's a rumor that Switch is going to get Smash Brothers, like the Wii U version. It's going to be the rumor is that there'll be 2 new characters alongside all the stuff that comes from the Wii U. So I'm hoping, if I own that digitally on the Wii U, will I get some sort of discount? Like you can see it on my account. Are you going to get like a $10 discount moving forward?
Yeah.
Or are they just going to say, sorry, you're screwed, buy it again? I don't know. We'll know in January for sure.
I could see it either way.
Absolutely, me too. The other piece of news from Nintendo, I don't know if you saw the Jimmy Fallon thing.
I did see the Jimmy Fallon thing.
What do you think about that?
Do you want my actual impressions of? Let's put it fat. I don't really like Jimmy Fallon overall.
I don't either.
I don't really find him that funny.
No.
Watching it though, I do feel like there's genuine excitement out of him.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's a giant dork, so that doesn't surprise me. Like, I mean, I don't know. I was pretty excited that Nintendo was on there to begin with. Like, that's huge exposure for them.
It's a huge audience watching, exactly.
Yeah. It was crazy to see Miyamoto there.
Yeah, in the audience. Apparently he played with the Roots at the end.
He did.
I didn't see that.
He played guitar. He did the Super Mario theme on guitar with the Roots.
Oh my god, that's rad.
The Roots are too good for Jimmy Fallon. It kills me every time.
Yeah, I know. The Roots are awesome, and Jimmy Fallon is a schmuck. I really do not like Jimmy Fallon. And it just comes down to politics at this point. So maybe the Nintendo Switch will be the next president of the United States. We'll see. Anyway. So something that came out of the news about Super Mario Run, which they played on there, they didn't mention it there, but they mentioned it elsewhere. Apparently, you're not going to be able to play Run offline.
Yeah, I did see that.
So that means on an airplane, on the subway, you're not going to be able to play it. That's a little silly.
Yeah, it is silly. I don't know why. I'm not really sure why.
Yeah, why it has to be on.
And I don't think they haven't explained that, so like I'm curious why.
Has to like push forward like how well you did because you're competing with friends or something like that. I'm not sure, but it's kind of a deal breaker for some people because
I'm sure
if you fly a lot, then that's not a game that you're gonna be able to play. So
yeah, and I mean that's just them missing out on like one of the things with mobile games, especially on phone. Me having made some on this requirement is you at least can do things so that people don't have to be connected all the time. Like, if it needs to sync up, it will sync up when next time it gets Wi-Fi. And it will be like, oh, we'll push up push up some stuff and
makes
get
sense.
the latest things. It really kills me that they're not doing that.
It just makes me question about the Switch. Like this is, to me, it seems like a no-brainer. Like you want it to run in offline mode because airplane mode is the thing that people use a lot.
It's true.
So that was surprising to me, and also not because they tend to make dumb decisions sometimes around online. But other news here. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm curious to know. I mean, I assume this was developed out of Japan.
Mario Run?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
So, I mean, there is something to be said there in the games that are really popular, like online in Japan, are connected all the time.
And I'm sure that they are able to have Wi-Fi wherever they go.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, this is a thing. Like, I'm like, oh, it's a Japanese game. Like, Puzzle and Dragon is a big one.
That's online all the time?
On the phone it is.
Wow, okay.
And that's why, I mean, it was for people when they're riding the train, basically. It was a game that you could play with, where they're saying you can play Mario Run with one hand.
Yeah.
Playing a game with one hand is huge in Japan.
Because you're holding on to something while
you're... Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that was one of, like, the games that became the most popular and the biggest there mobile games are games that you could hold in portrait mode and be holding on and play with one hand with your thumb. So I look at this and I'm like, okay, this is being brought to the US and Mario's brought or for the entire world, but it's developed in Japan with those sensibilities.
Yeah. Well, speaking about the gameplay, like when Jimmy Fallon was playing it, like it looks like there is, obviously I think it gets harder the further you go in, but there are hidden coins and pink coins and other collectibles to get even in the earlier kind of easier stages.
Yeah.
Add some replay value, and then I mean for $10, to be honest, like a $10 Mario game, like even if I'm only just tapping it, like that seems like an incredible value. So
yeah, we'll see. This is a big experiment.
I mean, I'm getting it day one.
That's next week, isn't it?
It's the 15th. Yeah, it's next Thursday.
Next Thursday. Wow. Okay.
I'm definitely getting it. So I assume they're gonna make a lot of money off this.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, so that takes us through the news, and right now we're going to move into what we are playing this week, and I'll start. I'm playing Watch Dogs 2, which I mentioned earlier. That's the big thing I've been playing. I've been playing it since Monday night. I think I'm probably put about 6 to 8 hours into it. And as you mentioned earlier, it's kind of like fake hacking almost, like TV hacking. Like it's what Hollywood producers think hacking looks like.
Is.
Yeah, like you have like a little jumper RC car, and you have like a quadcopter drone that can run around and hack, and you're basically presented with scenarios where you need to like get into somewhere and steal information, or for example, there's one the opening where basically Martin Shkreli, the guy who bought all the I forget, it was like AIDS or cancer medicine, and jacked up
the giant the world's
biggest asshole.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, well, it mentions
the most punchable face in the world.
Yep, that guy. They even mentioned that in the game, but it's a guy that's supposed to be him basically, and you hack in and set him up for something, and then basically using all your hacker abilities, basically get back at him for being such a douche. And then the second or third mission, you break into the New Dawn Church, which is Scientology. Like it's just ripping on Scientology the whole time, and it's just. I think I mentioned earlier, someone mentioned, referred to it as SJW GTA, and it really is like kind of the open world free roam of GTA, but the missions that you're doing isn't like, I mean, it is crime, but it's like socially responsible crime. Like you're broadcasting to the world why New Dawn is so fake and how they're lying to people, and your mission is to give people the truth and let them decide what to do with it.
So you're anonymous, basically.
You're a fun anonymous, exactly right. And
or
people
DedSec.
DedSec, and people have commented that I've heard on podcasts about how they don't like your crew, but I really like them. Like the person that I hate the most is this guy named Wrench, who basically wears like a robot mask and modulates his voice, and he's just like so over the top. Like it's just them making fun of themselves, and I love it. I really can't stop playing it. So the gameplay, not the gameplay, but kind of the hook, reminds me of Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain, where you're given a scenario, here's your tools, beat it however you want.
Nice.
You can go in guns blazing, you can go in with just your drones, you can call in gang attacks to distract people and get in. Like, I've had several missions that have been like edge of my seat thrilling, because I'm like, I barely get into the room to steal the stuff and I'm downloading it, and then like the people are coming and I'm setting off my drones or my remote bombs, or I'm doing I'm doing that, and like I'm just barely getting out of the mission alive, and it's just like so fun, and that loop just keeps happening over and over, and it's kind of the same thing every mission. Like, you're breaking into somewhere and kind of stealing information and trying to figure out how to get in, and using cameras and taking people down slowly. So I'm hoping there's a little bit more variety as I move forward. I think there will be, but the unlocks are such where you can kind of build in like city disruption is a tree, and vehicle hacking is a skill tree, and guns are a skill tree, and lots of other skill trees. But I've put nothing into guns because I'm not playing with guns. I'm not shooting people. I'm not, there are times where I could like finish a mission by pulling out a gun and shooting them, so they won't be a problem. But I just use my stun gun, knock them out, and they're asleep for like 5 minutes. And if I don't finish in 5 minutes, they wake back up, and I gotta figure out how to, deal with them again.
Yeah.
That game is so much better without guns. It is.
I could see that.
It is way fun, and it's a platinum that's really achievable. Like, I'm kind of popping trophies left and right and looking at what's left, and they're all things that I'm going to naturally do, or it will be easy to.
Or close to it.
Exactly right. I've laughed a lot playing this game, and just the open world. It's San Francisco, so I really like. There are places I know in San Francisco that it's just kind of fun to be around there. But it's kind of a surprise. Like, I didn't care at all about Watch Dogs 2 coming out. And then every podcast I listened to, they're talking about how fun it is, and I was just like, okay, maybe I should check it out. And then I finally grabbed it with that Best Buy deal, and like, it might be in my top 5. Like, it is that good. It's really good. Next game I'm playing this week is Overcooked. It's on sale on PSN, and it's a game I played with a friend. I don't know if you've seen it or played it.
I have seen it. I haven't played it. I have seen it.
It is so fun. So I gave my wife a controller, and I said, play this game with me. So we did the first couple levels together, and it was really fun. Like, working together, kind of, it's a little bit slower paced with her because she's learning how to use the buttons and figuring out what to do, but then she got into it and had a lot of fun. She complained about how small it was, though. Like, it's hard to, the real estate of the screen is big, and your character's tiny. So hopefully we'll play more of that. There's a bunch of free DLC out. And then Stories, Path of Destinies I played this week, and I won't say anything more about that. We'll talk about that next month. That's our video game book club selection, but have you started yet?
I have not.
It's fun.
I need to play it. I've actually seen a couple. You've mentioned that it's fun, and then I've seen some just other random Reddit threads where people are like really liking it.
Yeah, it's a game that we're both going to have to take notes on, though, so remember what we chose, because it really it's obvious where it branches. And the last thing I forgot to mention for my Game of the Year discussion, Hitman, the episodic thing this year, I played a lot of, and that's going to be on my top 10 as well. All right, so that's what I'm playing this week, and I'm having just a ton of fun. I'm hooked on Watch Dogs.
Yeah, I'm hooked on one game. One. Final Fantasy 15.
Yep.
I am 40 hours into it.
Oh my sweet Christ.
So much playing this game.
And are you doing a lot of open world, or are you still doing
I was doing a lot of open world. So that's one thing this game does, and I'd heard that this is how it happens, is like the first half of the game, there's definitely a point where it's very open world, and you can kind of just go at your own pace.
Right.
And then there's a point you hit about halfway through the story that it funnels you, and I am definitely at that point.
Okay.
Where the world has been constricted quite a bit, and it definitely is like just moving you from chapter to chapter with some very minor areas where you can explore. But it's like the story. You can tell at a point they're just like, okay, we're telling our story now, and are you ready to do this?
And
so
does that make you like it less?
No.
Okay.
I actually am completely okay because it's telling that the story is getting better because of it.
Awesome.
And the thing is, the story's going to get... And I know once you finish the game that it just dumps you back into the open world.
Right.
And that there's a ton to do in the game once you've beaten the story. Like, there are things that you cannot do in the open world until you beat the story.
Like the airship, right? That's
you can't do the airship. That's something you do after. There's hidden dungeons, locked dungeons. I found one of these doors, then it's just like, yeah, you can't open this now. You do not know how to open this. Huh. And I read up and it's like, no, you cannot do these until you beat the game or finish the story. Yeah, so it's weird. It feels like beating the story is just another step towards the entire game, but not the like end-all be-all of the game. So yeah, I'm pretty curious what's going to come out of that. There's been a lot of there's a holiday update coming out in sometime before the end of the year. It's going to do some bug fixing, and I'd have to look again. It was just adding some minor stuff, but there's a whole slew of DLC planned for next year on it.
And is it story DLC?
Yeah.
Okay. It's
DLC specific. Like there's three of them at least, and they all deal with one of your companions. And there's definitely been a couple times where you're like, oh, something has happened with them. I bet that's where the DLC is going to be. Uh-huh. Like it's going to be their like side story thing that happens. But overall, I'm 40 hours. I feel like this is a game that's going to be greater than the sum of its parts, though. Like, the characters are actually really good. I really like the characters. The story is good sometimes, not so good sometimes. Pacing is weird.
Oh.
Like, I'm understanding it. This is not 13. Like, but I also go back and I'm like, well, stories... Final Fantasies have really good characters. Like, if I think of 7 and 8 and 9... they definitely have weirdness to their stories. Like, they're not paced the best. Like, that's not why you play these games, necessarily.
Right.
7 especially, like, you have that whole opening segment, which actually moves pretty quick and, like, keeps you enthralled, and then you just get dumped into the open world. You're like, what the hell do I do now? Because everything had been so guided for so long.
Right.
And you're just kind of left to wander, and the story really slows down for a bit, and then... So I feel like it's kind of the nature of those games.
40 hours.
But 40 hours so far, and this game definitely is like 80 hours if I do stuff after I beat it. I'm pretty sure I can beat it in the next like 10 or 15 hours probably if I just go right through it.
I heard it was like a 30-hour game.
I think that's if you play
mainline
it. I've seen people online that beat it in like 20.
Right.
Like, and they're just mainlining it. Just like, nope, no side. I've done a ton of side stuff.
You're getting your money's worth, man.
I got the trophy that's like finish 80 side quests.
Holy shit.
Which I think hunts count as side quests. The hunts are just like, go kill this thing, this special enemy over here. The one thing I will say that is actually really good, I love the combat. Now that I understand the combat, God, I love the combat.
I saw your tweet of the just like wrecking house.
It was wrecking, but it was mostly for me. This is me as a developer because it was amazing to me that I finished this like fight and I'm like doing all this aerial attacks and like jumping back, flipping off walls, attacking.
Yeah, I feel like you never
flipping to the other side. I didn't for a long time.
Right.
And the thought is I finished that fight. I was like, that looked amazing, and I was actually in control.
Right.
This wasn't like a scripted, like, it was like your character's animation, its attack animation, reacts to the environment around you, and will use that to do special animations and blend them all together. It's technically incredible from a developer standpoint. I cannot believe how much work has gone on into those animations and this entire game from that, looking at it from that way. Because it makes you feel badass. You finish something and you're like, holy crap. I played this game, did that combat, and it looked amazing while I was doing it.
Something like the Diablo 3, like power fantasy kind of thing. Like you're just really
kind of. You're very strong, although this game will punish you. Like
For making a mistake, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to be. That's the thing. Like, originally in combat, like the first probably 5 hours, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this combat. Like, this is weird. It's all real time. I don't feel that way. I actually pretty much love the combat now.
Okay.
Like,
So give it some
absolutely loving. I feel like I understand it, all the different aspects of it. There's a ton I can do. The weapon animations are fantastic. Like, you have to be and use different weapons. The combinations that happen with you and your teammates all the time. There's just a ton of stuff going on, and once you can master the kind of the flow of it, and it's not a combat flow that fits. I can't say like, oh, if you've played this game, yeah, it's just like that. It's its own thing. And I think where people have issues is they come in, they're like, okay, I need to play it like combat from Dark Souls or from like just other action games. Like, okay, this or Kingdom Hearts, for example. Like, oh, that's how this plays, or like God of Wars or anything like that. And it's like, no, it does not. It doesn't have the same rhythm as those games. You have to play it very differently, and expects you to play it how it wants it played. It's like, so once you can get that out of your head and you just start playing, you're like, okay, let's do this. So yeah, 40 hours in. You mentioned easy to platinum. I think this game's actually not going to be hard to platinum.
Oh, really?
I think I'm already at like 50% of the trophies, and I'm not done. And like, so it's like every chapter, I'm 47%. Every chapter is a trophy. There's 15 chapters, and I assume those get, the last one will be
Gold.
A gold, probably.
Yeah.
But then there's just trophies for things that you do. Like I already said, I got the main trophy for doing 80 side quests. So do those, yeah, weaving a tapestry, complete 80 side quests. There's like, do a hunt, and not even doing 80, like there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trophies based on side quests, just 5, 10, 15, 20, like as you beat side quests, you get trophies.
Oh, that's nice. So just like in the natural progression of things.
Yeah, I mean, all these, there's only going to be a few that require any kind of grind. It's not like hidden things that you're like, oh, to get this trophy, you're going to have to make sure you don't do this one choice at this point. And,
right.
Oh, you chose wrong. So you guess you got to play the whole game over. None of the trophies look like they're based around anything like that. It's just put time into the game, you will get all the trophies.
So if you're looking at the list right now, what's the rarest trophy below platinum?
Do they show me? I'm looking online. It doesn't look like I can sort it that way.
Okay.
On the website, unfortunately.
Right.
I wish I could, but
that's all right. I can find out later. I was just curious.
I was looking at some of them. There's basically, I think the one that's like make sure that the maxing out all your your skills. Like each person has a skill, so I think one of those is really hard, much longer to get. I think survival, because it's just about walking around. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's really going to be that hard to platinum, and I'm considering it. We'll see where it happens at the end. Oh, I think one of the trophies is getting the airship. Oh,
it is? So you have to do that at the end anyway.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's one of them. Like, get your wings or something. And that one's pretty rare because you have to get through the end of the game. But, yeah, I have a feeling I'll platinum it.
Awesome.
At least potentially. Like, it's there.
I love those games that you play and you're just like I think you have to get close to the platinum anyways, but you think, this is such a worthy game. Like, it deserves for me to go back and get the platinum.
Yes.
That Assassin's Creed Syndicate trophy, though. That's freaking running over light poles and shit.
5,000. That's insane.
It just must have been a typo, and they just.
It has to be a typo.
Like,
and they're just like, that's funny.
Yeah. people are gonna do that. Like, oh my god, I'm pretty close. Other than that, I think I probably need like 10 more trophies. Like, I need to like sync all the main memories 100%, which I can do. Oh, anyway. If you've gotten this far, we're going to give you a code for a game. This is for Shadow Complex Remastered, which is for the Epic. It's not through Steam, it's through Epic. They have like their own game engine thing, or not.
They do.
What's it called? A browser, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I actually have it because that's also how I download the engine.
Aha, that would make sense then. So if you've got that, the code is 5T9X9, FY8X5, ZX8BX, Y9F6G. So that's for Shadow Complex Remastered over there on the old Epic. Whatever it's
Have you
called.
played that game?
Shell? No, but I have it on Steam.
It's good.
Millions of games. I've heard really good things about it, but I haven't played it yet. I think, let's see, my library on Steam is currently at 246. I'm a child. I know. How much do you have?
343.
Oh, I'm pretty close to you. I'm 100 behind.
100 behind.
How many do you have installed? I have 49 installed.
I do not have that many installed.
Yeah, I'm crazy.
I have 19 installed right now. I'm pretty judicious about deleting games I'm not playing.
Yeah, it's probably smart. I just have I have so many huge hard drives that I just, whatever, just leave it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's episode, I think we're on 63. I'm going to pull the tab back up. This is episode 63 of Prof and Dev Play Games. I am at Prof Plays Games on Twitter, and he is at Summer Speak. Next week, we will bring our GOTY talk to bear. We will bring our top 5, and that will probably be, I think last year we did the whole episode. So
yeah, this is going to take the whole episode, and it's going to take me this entire week to actually narrow this down to 5 games.
Yeah, me too.
I'm looking at it. I have 4 right here. I wrote down 4. I'm like, well, these have to be in my top 5. And I'm like, crap.
Right.
Do they really have to be in my top 5?
Yeah, it's going to take some thinking, and then I'll do a little bit of writing, just kind of like codify my thoughts on each one. But that'll be fun. So next week, we will do Game of the Year, and in 2 more episodes, it will be 1 year where we've done this together, because we started together the first episode of January.
It's true.
So that's pretty cool.
I know, an entire year. Crazy.
I know. It flies by, man.
It does.
All right, folks. Thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Night.